Hello there, everybody. My name is Clare Maxwell at Embodied Learning Systems. Today's video is about magical anatomical imagination, which I just invented this phrase to try to describe what embodiment practice can mean for your neurological connection to your own body, that this connection can be wild, can be creative, and still be healthy. You can link up scientific reality with magical imagination and have some really interesting journeys that will free up new movement and new sensation in your body. And if you've ever felt like you're in a rut, you know how powerful having access to a more refreshing state of mind, state of body, state of being can be. Okay, so there's like 3 parts to the exploration I'm going to guide you through. The first is that your bones, which certainly have scientific reality, and we study them, and they are all floating. This is not really what we're taught or how we're taught to think of them. We're taught to think of kind of lining them up, but they don't line because there's no lines. What they do is they float in tissue, and they have joints where they kind of communicate with each other, but they're actually floating in tissue. The second part is about these 2 little beautiful kinds of bones in your body. They're even more floating than any other bone. One is your kneecap, which is right here in your knee, and there's another one called your sesamoid, which is on the bottom of your foot. And you can see pictures of them right here. I'll show you both pictures, and then we'll come right back. Okay, great. So now you can kind of see they're like these little round discs, little flying saucers. So you can let your imagination kind of run wild with that a little bit. Okay, so let's start using our anatomical imagination to move with these, ideas, to let the tissues of our body create movement with these ideas. Okay, so I want you to begin by stepping into your space. I hope you have some space available. So I'm gonna just touch base with this, my kneecap in my imagination, and I'm gonna invite it to float a little bit inside. And so what I start to notice is that I can float a little bit forward or back on my feet also. And when I do that, it's starting to give me sensation from the soles of my feet and from the skin and tissue around my kneecaps. So I'm going to move how I imagine or where I imagine my kneecaps are. I'm going to move them just to stimulate a sensation in the tissues around them, just to feel movement. And then I'm going to extend that down to the soles of my feet. So as I lower my weight, can I imagine those little sesamoid bones kind of moving and sliding and spreading? So I don't know, I guess you could say your kneecaps kind of spread out that way. And then when you come up, they kind of move up. And you can begin to sense and feel through your tissues of your legs your relationship to the ground, pushing away from the ground, spreading into the ground. So the feeling and sensation is not coming from the bones, it's coming from the tissues around the bones. Let's just try some side to side motion like this. And just notice, make it easy. So if you go too far, you may feel that the sliding and gliding kind of stops, that you feel your knees might hurt or they might become stiff. You might get stuck and that bone might stop sliding and gliding. So just back off a little bit. Just find the sliding and gliding. Yeah. And if you swing your arms in any way that feels good, making a little circles, you just want in your mind's eye to see those little bones in your feet and those bones in your knees floating. Okay, great. So now you can come back to a normal standing position and just see if you have a tendency to stiffen up again. So when we bring our feet right under us, there are a lot more chances. So you might not want to be too narrow. You might want to take, oh yeah, I don't have to brace my knees, but you still have the down and the up, and you still have a little side to side movement in the tissues. So the final message is that actually every bone in your body is floating in tissue. Bones don't stack. There are joints, yes, but they're all wrapped in this sensate tissue. And there's 206 separate bones in your body. So as you learn about them, don't forget to engage in a little bit of magical thinking about how they slide and glide, and how this sliding and gliding, it increases the ability of your tissues to sense and feel. So you get more sensation the more movement there is. And this is what produces healthy movement. This movement, this fluidity is what produces health in your tissues and increases circulation in your body. And you can actually put a kneecap anywhere you want one. So I've tried actually putting them in my glutes and just imagining that there's, like any muscle where you get really tight, like, oh yeah, there could be a little sliding and gliding. If I imagine it, it has a little bit of weight and it gives a little bit of juiciness to the muscle tissue. You can put an imaginary kneecap in your trapezius. Oh, what would that be like if there was a little bone sliding around in there? Okay, so go off and go crazy with your imagination. Play around because it feels so good. Trust me. All right, hope that was helpful. Peace and love.